Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to ARRI Asia Hours. My name is Chris Choi, and I will be your moderator for today's session. I'm so glad to be here again. As you may already know, ARRI has a long-running program called a Certified Pre-Owned Program, which offers ARRI approved pre-owned equipment at an affordable price to filmmakers. Under this program, all pre-owned equipment undergo full assessment, overhaul, and recalibration. But today we won't focus on any product feature, but two CPO owners from different parts of Asia to share their experiences on using CPO products and how the program brought enormous value to them. And before we introduce our guests, a quick reminder to everyone, you can start sending in your question anytime, and our guests will try to answer them throughout the episode. Make sure you click the question mark symbol at the bottom bar so you can access to the chat box. So joining us today, the first one is a recent owner of CPO Alexa Classic, Yo Takahashi. He's a cinematographer based in Japan and the founder of Door, a film production company in Tokyo. He also has a YouTube channel, and his work, Eternal Escape, won the Best Music Video and Best Experimental Shot in the Independent Shot Award 2020. And also with us is Robert Cauble, a Jakarta-based DP. He is a former CPO Alexa Mini owner, and his work on the TVC Story of the Years won the Filmcraft in Cinematography Award at Citra Pariwara. He will talk about how the CPO program has helped him level up his career as a cinematographer. All right, let's all welcome Takashi-san and Robert to our live. Welcome to ARRI Asia Hours.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hi, thanks for
So
having me.
how are you guys? I know in Japan right now you are still in the state of emergency. So how the life in Japan?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a little hard situation ongoing, but yeah, I'm fine. I didn't, affect the COVID-19, but yeah, people suffered by this situation, so it's a little hard. And our country plan to hold the Tokyo Olympic in this year, so it's a little hard, but I don't know the details. But yeah, anyway, yeah.
Okay, I see. So I know, Robert, right now you are in the United States, and then really thank you for joining us today at the very early morning.
Oh yeah, no problem. It's after a couple cups of coffee, I'm there with you guys.
Yeah. All right. So maybe we start with the first question. I know you both are professional DPs and have produced a lot of awesome projects in the past. And I believe both of you have tried a lot of camera and brand before. What led you to purchase a pre-owned ARRI camera instead of a new one, or the latest model from ARRI or even from other brands? So Takashi-san, maybe you can start first.
Okay, I am a freelance filmmaker in Japan, and I used a lot of gears that DSLR, other cinema camera in my past career, but I just have a few experiences with the Alexa series, and that time I just hit the like button, and I didn't know much detail of this camera, so I can't imagine that. How can I get into more detail with this camera, because there are literally no experience, no opportunity to use this camera. But after these experiences, I started thinking about owning Alexa seriously. And then I checked a lot of websites that some retailers in Japan, and then I saw that document of the kind of Alexa Mini or other camera, but the price is little overwhelming and kind of expensive for me, because my projects are almost small or middle class type project. So I can't imagine that I can afford to use this camera for my project. So this is kind of beginning. And a few months after, I saw the article, the information of this ARRI CPO program, and I came across this information. Then I felt, oh, that is my opportunity. This is kind of my program. You know what? So, soon after I saw the information, and then I went to the ARRI CPO website, and then I checked the list of the ARRI CPO products. Yeah, then I finally get my own Alexa. Yeah, this is kind of story. Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much. So how about you, Robert?
My experience with the CPO program was I had purchased a Alexa Mini, and yeah, it was, as far as just speak of why this camera. It's a camera that I'd used many times before, and was very familiar with how it reacts to light, how the color can be manipulated in the post production. So I just feel like it really fit into a whole ecosystem, whereas everybody from my crew, from the ACs to the colorists, would know also how it worked. And then as far as the owning a camera, I felt like the Mini was a very good choice because of the form factor. It's a small camera, and it can be easily built up to accommodate a lot of accessories, but also very at home in small run and gun situations. For example, if the lens mount can be changed so that some still lenses can be used, and really keeps the production small in that way. And I guess to speak of why I chose a used camera, I actually really wasn't looking used at first, but I did find the CPO program on the ARRI website and was very happy to see it was an option.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so beside you talking about the lens choice, beside the PL mount, actually we also offer a different lens mount like the EF mount as well. So there are so many platforms and methods you can use to acquire camera in the market. Why did you decide to purchase it through our CPO program instead of other channel? So Takahashi-san, what is your experience?
Okay. As I mentioned that I Google it literally many times about Alexa, how to how to own this camera, but based on my information, there's no way to get the affordable ARRI camera in Japan. So if I want to use the ARRI cameras in my project, there are two ways: that getting the new one or they'll rent it from the rental houses. So yeah, this is many people and many filmmakers are in the same situation, but I didn't know there is the second-hand market, and then officially I ran this project by ARRI. So this is a super huge, and then this is my only choice to buy this product, and then yeah, this is my thought, and this is my feeling about a CPO program. Yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. How about you, Robert?
I guess I could talk about how I first contacted ARRI through the website. I believe I spoke to someone in Munich,
Yes.
but they were able to find out I was in Southeast Asia and send the camera to Hong Kong. And I'd say that the reason to go with the CPO program, of course, was the price, but also I felt like it was a good, safe investment because of things like the warranty. And as someone that has since invested in Alexa Mini LF, which was purchased new from ARRI, I would say I know that the experience is the same with the used camera as it was with a new camera. It's the same 1-year warranty, and yeah, I think that's the main draw, is that such a large investment. It became a safe investment with the warranty.
Yeah, that's why you have to choose a reliable source, and then our CPO program is not limited in any only single market or single region. It's a global program. So you see the camera on, let's say in Munich, we can ship it to Hong Kong and then deliver it to worldwide. Yeah, okay. So the CPO program offers filmmakers with kindness value to aid their career. How does it help to build up your? How about you, Takahashi? Any experience from the CPO program?
Okay, I'm happy to own my Alexa, and I'm super satisfied with this owning this camera. But to be honest, I am a kind of small production, and my project are almost a small or middle budget type project. And then I could get one job that doc style branded film, and then this kind of to promote the Japanese and traditional ceramics artisan to the worldwide market to sell their product. So my clients want to the high quality, but they have no budget to invest their project. So this is the moment. This is after I can get my own Alexa. So I can say that how about the using my Alexa to this project? So this is a huge moment for me, and I can use my Alexa for many my project without a permission. So I can control my creativity and my thought into my project. So this is super huge for the indie type filmmakers, for the very early beginning filmmakers, I guess. So this is my experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. You have the freedom to use your own camera to execute all your idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so can you share about your experience, Robert?
Oh yeah, kind of to build off of what Takashi-san had mentioned, that I also first, before I had bought the Alexa Mini from the CPO program, I had a Alexa Classic, and I felt like for me it was much an investment in the same way, where you're able to offer more to certain productions that are interesting from a creative end, but may not necessarily have the means. And you know, with a used market camera, you really get a great value in what you're offering the production. But I would say even still, that now that I feel like I'm able to work with more proper budgets, owning a camera is still very, very beneficial. And it's mainly because of the access that it allows me to have as a DP. I'm able to do test shoots at a moment's notice with the camera, put things like custom lookup tables, and really just kind of have time to just play and experiment a little bit, which I think is very important part of the process. Also, things like mounting and custom configurations. I feel like just having the time and access is very, I'm able to add more to what I'm offering as a DP to certain productions, really like tailor it to the production. And I would say, to build off that a bit, that when I show up to the set with the camera, it's prepped how I like it, and really is customized in that way, which gives me a lot of sense of security going into the shoot.
Yeah, so it's a very good example. Owning your camera, and then you can try a lot of configurations, so you know better about your tools. And then when it comes to a formal shooting, you know it better than others.
Yeah, all about the prep.
Yep, correct. So from a CPO owner and a DP's perspective, what would you advise to those who are planning to own their equipment? So this time maybe Robert, you can start first.
I would say that it's a big investment to own a camera, even if even if it's from a used market, and having a camera, Alexa camera, to be taken seriously. So I think to match that with a good business plan is important, to kind of know what your market is that you're going into. I know that having both worked in a couple US cities and also in Jakarta, the markets are quite different. So really kind of understand where your market is and where you want to fit in with it. And I think something that people don't discuss enough is to have good relationships with rental houses that you feel like you can grow with, because rental houses, because you become a rental house in some sort of way when you own a camera, right? And you need accessories, you need your base package, but rental houses are able to offer a lot more, just by the nature of their business. And I think it can be a very symbiotic relationship, where it's mutually beneficial between the DP, who is the owner operator, and the rental house, as far as what you offer each other from a business standpoint.
Okay, thank you. So how about you, Takahashi-san? What is your advice?
Yeah, I'm to be honest, I'm an ongoing person, so I can say that I am kind of famous cinematographer in Japan, kind of things. But I'm trying now, and I can feel that ARRI is kind of like a global language in terms of this industry. So many well-known and a savvy person who wants to use this camera, and people knows the power and quality of this camera. So if you have a kind of ambitious or kind of goal to get in this professional or higher level industry, maybe you should be the professional who operate this camera before getting into this industry. So owning Alexa is kind of, you can train yourself in your location freely, and then you can use and you can invest to your project to use your camera. So this entire process is super meaningful things for the filmmakers, especially the indie type filmmakers. So yeah, I'm trying, but I feel kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's very visionary. And then I think Takahashi-san experience actually is a lot of situation of indie filmmaker, and but you take the first step to buy your own equipment and then keep level up your career as a cinematographer. So I think we already received some questions from our audience. So let's see. The first question is that is there any training course provided by ARRI if I buy a CPU program? So maybe I can answer this question. So actually, when you buy a CPU camera, we will offer a free online training course to our user. So you can go to a online course to get familiar with the whole ARRI camera system and the ecosystem of ARRI provided. So anyone can add some comment? Do you get the same experience?
I remember that when I was in Hong Kong, there was some mention of this. It's not something actually that I've used, but I thought it was a nice benefit that I believe it was this pre-pandemic, so it was an in-person training course, was it not?
Yeah. Right now we cannot hold the face-to-face course, but we provide some online course to our user. Yep. The next question is, do you feel inconvenience in using the large size camera? I think this is for both of you, but maybe Takahashi-san, you can start first.
My style is kind of one-man band style, so it's a little hard to operate with the one-man hand, So big camera is heavy, but especially I have the Alexa Classic, so I feel the look is super nice than other cinema camera based on my experience. So yeah, it's not the kind of mentioned about the weight, but on the owning Alexa is super nice, and you can get a nice quality of image, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's also about the ergonomic design of the camera.
Oh yeah. When first, I literally touched my Alexa Classic, and
Mm.
I'm so struggle to know the kind of procedure to operate this camera. So I figured out a way, my instinctively so touch the button and how it works, and I checked each by each. So it's kind of like a experiment, So yeah, this is my way. So yeah.
Okay, so
I would
about
say
you, Robert.
I would say, because I've used the Classic a lot, and I really like it for handheld. Because I feel like the mass is at the right spot, especially with a small lens on it, that it really just kind of stays put, and it's heavy enough that you don't get a lot of micro motions. So I feel like even with the smaller cameras like the Mini, I'm trying to achieve what the bigger cameras offer in this way in handheld situations.
Oh, wow.
Okay, interesting. Okay, then the next question from our audience is, what if I cannot find the product I want online? Can I make a request on specific product? The answer is yes. You can send us a email, mention what equipment you are looking for, and then we will try to look for the CPO one, either demo or used one from our pool, and then we try to offer the right solution to our customer. Okay, so the last question from our audience is, beside camera, any other product I can find under CPO program? So maybe I can also answer this question. The answer is also yes. Beside camera, actually you can find lenses, PCA product like the motor, the WCU for the wireless control, and also some wireless system from our CPO page. And then you can also send us a message what equipment you are looking for. So it's really easy. You can contact us for whatever you want. Okay, so thank you, Takahashi-san and Robert, for joining us today and for sharing your experiences from the CPO program today. We are looking forward to your new project in the future. So thank you also to our audience for joining us today and for sending in your question. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We will be posting this episode online soon, so you can rewatch it later. If you have more questions about ARRI camera system, you can message us there too. If you want to learn more about ARRI CPO program, we have a page on www.arri.com, or you can go to our Facebook page to check out the list of CPO products we have at our Hong Kong office. We will post the link in the chat box so you can check it out. So I think that's all for today. See you all in the next ARRI Asia Hours. Okay, bye-bye.
See you guys.
See you guys.